because man's task is to make the earth after the model of heaven. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Man's project is to heavenize the earth. Man is made to transform the world from glory to glory, to take hold of it and break it down and remake it after the image of heaven.
Welcome back to the Reformed Reset. My name is Grant, and joined with me is my beautiful wife, Erica, the weaker vessel.
Hello, everyone.
Guys, we are part of Take Hold Studios. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell so you get notifications every single time we release content, and hit the like button. That helps us, get up in there in the algorithms for YouTube. Comment, leave your thoughts, concerns, gripes, complaints with us right down there in the comment section. And if you are in podcast world, please subscribe to the podcast, and more specifically, please leave a review. That would help us out a ton in getting in front of new listeners. All the podcast apps have algorithms too, right? So if you subscribe and you leave a review, that will put it in front of new people. Like listeners also liked this stuff.
Right.
So you can help us out if you do that. Check out Take Hold blog as well. We have a bunch of stuff in there that is worthy of your reading time. And our merch store. There's a link in the description for our merch store. We have Take Hold Studios merch. We have some sweet crew necks for the ladies. One of them is Feed Ye the Patriarchy. Yep. And so come on, guys. Team up with us.
That's right.
And fight the
we're not fighting the patriarchy.
Not fight the patriarchy. Fight
the anti-patriarchy.
For the patriarchy.
Yes, there you go.
In a way that kind of says make sandwiches. So.
It doesn't say that, though. It says Fiji the patriarchy.
Right.
On the back, it should say by making sandwiches.
That's right. Via sandwiches.
Should add that to the sleeve detail or something.
Yeah, that's right. Also, guys, on the YouTube channel, we've been releasing the newly launched Weaker Vessels Kitchen.
Yes.
Now, this is not in podcast world, and we told you on the last episode that you guys need to let us know if you really want it in audio.
Right.
I can do that, but what we're doing now is just the YouTube channel, and you've had a pretty awesome reception so far.
I'm happy with it.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of ladies are loving the content. It's really geared towards just bolstering and building up biblical femininity.
If you have ideas for topics, we're happily receiving all suggestions.
Yeah, it's awesome stuff.
Yeah.
You guys do a great job.
Thank you. That will go nicely if you've watched any of those shows with what we're going to talk about tonight.
This is true.
Tonight, we're going to talk about... What? I forgot it already.
We're talking about a very helpful distinction that we need to make, because in the Reformed Reset or Take Hold Studios, right, we say that we need to first reform our homes. And so we place a pretty heavy emphasis on the covenant family. And actually, I was just, when I was teaching the other day, I was saying the number one way that we can fight against the cultural Marxism of our day is just have strong families.
Right.
And so we definitely want to pour all of our efforts and invest ourselves into helping build up the covenant family. So anyway, we talk a lot about raising boys, raising girls. We've done that several times and try to just share tips and tricks and stuff. Right. Today,
what did we say the title was going to be?
Should boys cross stitch?
Cross stitch and the Oscars or something like that. What was it?
Oh, cross stitch and
we had a really clever title, and
it was so good, guys. Then I set everything up and we started recording, and now it's
gone. My memory is just not what it used to be.
Cross stitch and...
Anyway.
I'm thinking of a different word that I don't want to say.
No, don't say that word. Anyway, we'll start with the thing that everyone's talking about right now. The Oscars, which I literally could care less about.
Yeah, who's
Oscar? I haven't watched an award show in like 10 years.
Yeah,
maybe even more than that. I think I was a teenager, so.
I don't know how much you have to pay me to watch it, because it's really my time is not.
I don't even know who most of the people are. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That's true too. I don't even I did know who this controversy is over.
Well, yeah, so Will Smith and
Chris Rock.
his wife and Chris Rock
Yeah.
had a whole stat. I'm sure you already know about it, and if you don't, it doesn't really matter. But the ironic thing was that the husband, Will Smith, was upset about the comedian who was hosting the award show making fun of his wife.
Right.
But Will Smith and his wife have an open relationship, and they're grotesque human beings.
Yeah, meaning they have
Perverse.
sex with other people than
They're
their husband.
perverse.
They have
Yes.
They have openly defiled the marriage bed.
In so many ways. And she has a talk show that's like equally as
It's vulgar, isn't it?
yeah, disgusting isn't even like the right word.
Yeah.
But it's all that comes to mind. Anyway, so it's kind of funny because he was like defending his wife's honor or something like that.
That's right.
All of it is just like so actually sad and weird.
True.
But like, she's a self-proclaimed feminist. I think their kid is like transgender or something. Like, all of this to say their sexual ethic is so screwed up already.
Right.
Why in the world would he ever think he needs to defend his wife's honor?
It's truly puzzling because on one side there is everyone saying like, oh, that's great, he defended his wife's honor, and then there's another side saying it's completely.
I don't think I've seen any of those people on my Facebook feed actually though.
I've seen them. Yeah, they're not. I don't think I'm friends with them, but I've seen it on Twitter and
I'm sure it
Facebook and just
exists,
comments and stuff. What a great man to defend his wife's honor when someone makes fun of her, and it's like, well, first of all,
Where do you get
roasts are a thing at these for like forever.
But like, regardless of whether it's right or wrong,
Yeah.
the ironic part for me, because I couldn't care if it was right or wrong for them, I can't even care. But the thing that I think is funny is that they think that a husband should defend and protect his wife. But why do they think that?
Right.
Where does that come from? Why do they
Yeah.
believe like?
Where's that
in
come
their
from?
framework?
Right. Where does that come from? Their feminist framework.
Yeah. Or even they don't even think that boys are boys and girls are girls. So how do you define that even he's a man? What if he doesn't identify as a man in that moment?
Mm-hmm.
Like, all of it's just so jumbled up and nonsensical that it's just ridiculous in my mind.
Yeah, and
And Christians should be talking about that aspect, right? Like, you have no right to say anything because you don't understand gender. I don't know what that was.
And I saw somebody saying, and I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to, but I do want to talk to the point. But somebody saying that if it was staged, then it's a bigger problem because they forced everybody to like question the ethics of the moment, right? If it was truly a big fight and a fist fight or whatever, but nobody got up to stop it, and so if it was staged, now you just outed everybody in the audience or nearby as someone who is just going to sit by when an atrocity's happening. And I say,
I don't care.
well, first of all,
That's where I'm at. I just don't care.
it's an award show where there's stunts all the time. So I don't know why you would ever actually even think that this was a real situation.
Listen, I don't think Christians should even think that much about it, to be really honest with you. I think we should just laugh at it and be like, that's really dumb, because they don't even have a framework for like any morality. So whatever they thought they were doing in that moment is just dumb anyway, and move on.
That's true.
That's
too.
it. Like, just totally rip the carpet out from underneath them and just say, you have no leg to stand on here. So
Right.
that's really dumb.
And
You're all really dumb.
And I saw a few good statuses where people were saying that even if he was defending his wife in that moment, he doesn't, like, he allows his wife to go sleep with other men, and he doesn't defend the marriage bed anyway. So
That's what I'm saying. Like, their ship has so
Exactly.
many holes in it that they're sinking themselves. And all that's just dumb, and we should be on the shore laughing at them.
right,
Rather than like
agreed.
even like feeding into the nonsense and the drama of it all, just be like, I don't know how you could even say that Will Smith is a boy or a husband. How do you know that?
right.
You don't know.
Yeah, you know what, I think
Like, just
you
literally
make a really good point, because there are some Christians that want to say that Hollywood still matters, it still sets culture, and so we need to whatever. And I think you're right. I think we need to look at it and laugh at it, realizing they don't, and they have no leg to stand on to set culture. And overthinking it, like you're saying, actually tells them they do.
Yeah, like they shouldn't have any power. And honestly, I think that the power they do have in our culture is severely dwindled over the last couple of years. Most people actually look at them now and just don't care. Like, all those award shows numbers have been down drastically in the last couple of years because no one cares about them.
I mean, I don't know if we have any close friends that regularly go to the movies.
Or family.
Yeah. Like,
Maybe, but not very often.
it's very few. Like, so many people have just lost interest because They don't know how to tell a story. They're completely immoral. Everything is a complete mess, you know?
All of our electronics are going off in this episode.
That's really bad.
There's a lot of things happening right now. So, we just said that non-Christians have no concept of gender. So
Yeah.
even them trying to like buy into the Bible's version of gender, which is the correct view of gender.
Or the man honoring the woman by protecting her.
Right.
They don't.
It's humorous.
What's a woman, right? That's like
humorous,
the question
actually.
right now. Yeah.
But the Christian should look at them and just say, you're stealing our script. Right?
Exactly.
Oh, God actually made men and husbands to do the protecting.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you're a Christian now?
Yeah, exactly. So, because we're talking about Christians in the home, we're going to roll that into the next topic. I keep
And
hitting my
gender.
microphone.
Sorry.
And gender, and whether little boys should cross-stitch.
So you saw this post somewhere. You just told me about it. And it was a mom, very proud of her
A reformed mother, I'm assuming.
14, whatever that means
14-year-old
nowadays on
son.
Facebook. Her 14-year-old son, because he had cross-stitched.
And
Was it
knit.
like a bird?
It was a craft. We don't need to get into it. It was a craft. I don't want to like out this person in case that they're in our circles.
Okay.
It's fine. But
It was feminine.
it was like a little.
The cross-stitch design.
It's a cross-stitch design that he had made by himself. It wasn't a pattern.
Right.
And she was boasting about this pattern that he designed, 14-year-old boy, and like how he knits.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote my friends, and I was just like, what do you think about this? Like, we should talk about this. I think we will on our other podcast eventually, Amy and I. But like at first, it leaves you kind of feeling like that doesn't seem right.
Yeah, something is a little unsettling, right?
Something doesn't seem right there. And as my friends and I were discussing, going back and forth, just like my Amy said that she wants her sons to know how to sew on a button, right?
Right.
And just have basic life skills. And then same, with our daughters. Like we want our daughters to have basic self-defense skills. Things
Right.
that you would assume are more masculine. Like fighting is a more masculine thing.
Yes.
And sewing is a more feminine thing. It just is. You can argue with me if you want, but it just is.
Yep.
And then why do we defend our son sewing on a button or our daughters doing basic self-defense, but we feel icky about little boys cross-stitching and girls being like MMA fighters? You know what I mean?
Right. Well, and the example of sewing on a button or repairing a canvas of a tent or whatever,
Tarp,
these are
yeah.
these are things soldiers did all the time on the battlefield, because you can't just quick get a new one. You need to learn how to kind of fix on the go.
Right.
And so soldiers, probably more so before, when they were more manly,
Right.
actually knew how to do those kinds of things, rather than today. It's not really taught anymore to soldiers because they just get new stuff.
Right.
But you made a point that that's survival, and cross-stitching and making something like that, that's beautifying, that's glorifying.
Right.
And that is the role of the woman,
Right.
who is the glory of man.
So touch on that a little bit. What do you mean that woman is the glory of man?
Well, it is just what the verse says. First
The Bible
of all,
says. It's a
That's
good
what-
place to start.
Yeah. But what we can see is that man seems to be built to tend and to keep, right? To build up and to protect. But then the woman comes in and glorifies, and so she takes, for lack of a better word, raw materials that the husband's brought home.
Provided, yep.
And he's provided. He's gone down and done the heavy work because his shoulders are broad, right?
He's toiled in the field.
Yep. And he brings it back. And then she makes it taste good, makes it look pretty,
Right.
and makes it smell good, and right, she glorifies it. And so, let's talk about sewing or
Seamstress, being a seamstress.
There you go. Like there's nothing wrong with a man knowing how to put a button on or patch a pant leg or whatever, and especially in the context of it being survival, right? But if he's crocheting and making doilies and I don't know, sewing,
If he's designing your curtains and sewing them for your home.
this is an issue.
It
He's
should
supposed
be,
to
at least.
build the home, not glorify and
provide
beautify
you
the home.
provide you with the materials, right? He buys
Exactly.
the fabric, he buys your sewing machine, he buys you your
Right.
yeah. Because being domestic is a feminine virtue.
Right.
It's what God has created a woman to do, to make her home beautiful, to build her home.
Right.
And be busy in it. So if a man decides, I don't really like being out in the fields and doing all that hard work, I'd rather sit and do some cross-stitch work here on the couch.
Right.
We say, well, that's not what God made you for, though.
Yeah.
God didn't make you for that.
I would say you're causing friction in the innermost part of who you are.
Right.
You know?
And the inverse is true as well.
Right.
If a little girl really just loves beating up all the boys in the neighborhood, and we applaud that and be like, oh, we should get her in some like MMA, some martial arts kind of stuff, because she's got a skill for it. We say, no.
Right.
Women shouldn't be warriors. Women shouldn't be soldiers.
Yeah, they don't need to train for war.
No, our women don't go to war. God's women do not go to war. Men are the protectors. So men are the ones, husbands, fathers, brothers, who protect their women. And when that's not possible, right? Sometimes it's not possible. A woman goes grocery shopping and gets assaulted. Well, in that moment, if there are no men around to protect her, then she should have some basic understanding of self-defense.
And again, on the flip side, her skills in self-defense are going to be like the boy's skills in patching a tent or putting on a button. It's survival. Because a lot of times soldiers do that literally in battle for survival. A girl is going to know how to defend herself quickly for survival, not as a primary, role
She's
as a warrior.
She's going to sign up to go to war.
Right. Exactly.
Or be a security guard, or it's not a fitting job for a woman.
Even if it's, I would even encourage against being pleased with a daughter who's just beating up on other boys or something. And you may think like, oh, good. If she can do that, then a boy probably isn't going to take advantage of her. True. She's also not being feminine. She's not being the feminine
And it's one thing if
woman.
boys are actually like assaulting her, then she should defend herself, right? But if she's just a neighborhood tomboy, that's not good either.
And actually, likely, it's a form of flirting on her part.
Yeah, or just misguided.
Could be.
Yeah, it could be. Yes, I agree.
The
little girls ought to be distinctly feminine, and distinctly different than boys.
Right.
And little boys very distinctly different than little girls. And I was listening to the What Have You podcast. I think it's like an older episode, like maybe a month old now. Anyway, they're talking about even just how we dress our children. And how, like, when we dress our children, they should be very distinctly different from the other gender.
That's good.
And how that's such a thing that the church needs to step up their game on right now in today's culture, where everything is unisex, basically.
Right.
Nothing is distinctly feminine or masculine. We need to make sure in the church that our children are distinctly feminine and masculine, according to how God made them.
And that is what will bring down cultural Marxism. That's what I was saying, like strong families by emphasizing distinctions. Because right now, every distinction is being taken away and trying to be smashed. This is why the Supreme Court nominee recently couldn't even answer what's a woman. Why? Because she's terrified of making a distinction in that moment.
Yep.
And so
our church is doing the same thing in a lot of ways, right?
Like, how easy does that make the churches fight? Like, how easy it is to fight for righteousness.
But if our little boys are doing little girl things and little girls doing little boy things, we don't have any moral high ground there.
Right. Just like
because we don't know what a girl is either, what a girl should be doing right now.
Right. We become Will Smith. We have no moral high ground.
We're doing the right thing, but we don't know why necessarily, or maybe you're not doing it at all. And this is where I can hear some women saying, how do I know, first of all, if it is an activity a little boy can do? Maybe my little boy just loves to bake. Maybe my little boy loves to just be in the kitchen. Maybe my little boy is a little toddler, and he does those little like sewing through the cardboard punch hole things. Is that wrong?
You asking me? Yeah. The thing is even with the kitchen thing, you really have to take stock of like what you're cultivating,
why you're cultivating it,
why you're doing what you're doing, why you're allowing him to do that. And you just have to, if you're going to not be very rigid, then you're going to have to pay very close attention, because you can easily fall off into the ditch, and now your boy is in the kitchen way more with mom than ever doing some sort of building or something that's going to help him develop as a young man.
Right.
Now, if you're able to balance it, and you know that like 90% of the time he is off practicing building with Legos, or he's off shooting his Nerf guns, or he's digging around in the backyard, and he's whatever.
But come Easter, he likes to decorate some sugar cookies.
Yeah, but then he's like,
wrong?
oh, sweet cookies, and he piles on stuff, and then it's whatever. You know?
I was gonna say, first of all, went back to the whole like category of like survival. The other category is like thriving, right? Like they thrive in an area where they shouldn't be thriving.
Right.
Beating up the boys, being the sweet little baker with a cute little hat in the kitchen and all his accessories. Like you'll be able to know whether it's survival, like, oh, I love cookies. Give me all the cookies and all the sprinkles and all the stuff. Boys tend to be that way. Girls tend to be very like, articulate, designing their cookies. They're very specific. Boys are just like piling all the sugar and shoving it in their mouth,
Right.
That's a masculine way of doing that.
Take dominion.
But like also it's not wrong for a little boy to know how to feed himself. That's survival too, right?
That's true.
Learning how to fry an egg, make some toast, pour a bowl of cereal, or even more like elaborate stuff. He can grill a steak. He can make a good burger. That's a masculine way of cooking. But if he is a precious little daisy in the kitchen making sweet little pastries with mom.
Listen, grilling is completely masculine because 90% of the time it's done outside.
With the beer in hand.
Outside of the home.
Yeah.
That's why.
My friend and I were just talking about her son, who is a teenager, asking if he could brew beer, if he could learn how to do that.
Did he really?
And I was like, that's actually kind of awesome because it is a skill to have. Once again, like a very masculine thing to do,
Yeah.
Still in the food industry, but very masculine. So we're not saying boys can't have basic survival skills.
Right.
They have to feed themselves, right?
Yeah.
But what we're saying is if he is a delicate little thing in the kitchen and just doesn't want to get his hands dirty outside,
right,
that's the problem right there.
Yeah, you need to, and that's what I mean by paying close attention, because you need to pick up on that stuff, because the character that you build in your young man by him going outside, getting dirty, building something, and
being
uncomfortable and just being able to rough it and go through pain, through a struggle, that is much more important to his character than whether like frosting lines were straight.
Right.
We
call that broadening our son's shoulders. We say, broaden your shoulders.
Yeah.
We know it's uncomfortable, but you need to broaden those shoulders because you have to learn how to carry this.
Yeah, and you know what? That's another thing. Maybe this is a overall parenting thing, and I get it. It's really tough, but you've got to be able to let your kids down, right? Where they really want to do something.
Right.
And in your mind, you're like, I know for your character that no. Right? So you're like, no, not right now.
Right.
And then you see their countenance fall. That's okay. Like that needs to be it. But they also then need to be trained why, maybe not in that moment if you don't have time, but they need to know why you're encouraging towards certain things.
Right.
I mean, we try and catechize our kids in that constantly. Like, it's because men are built for this. That's why I have you. Right. Just build something with Legos real quick because I want you to keep practicing building.
Yeah. I can remember Rachel Jankovic talking about why their daughters do certain sports versus like other sports. And she was just explaining that like if my child cannot be excellent in the sport, I don't want them to do it. Right? So like maybe it's not so bad when your child is like 6, a little girl, and she's grappling with boys on the ground, right? There's nothing sexual there yet. There's nothing like little boys aren't trying to hurt her necessarily yet. Whatever, I get it. But what would it look like to be excellent in that sport? It's going to be inappropriate at some point for her to do that, if it's not already, Yeah. So if they can't be excellent in something, then don't even start with them.
Yeah.
You're teaching them a weird dynamic there,
Right.
If a little boy...
Well, it's confusing.
Yes.
Yeah,
if you don't want a little boy to be a makeup artist when he's older, don't let him do little things in the beginning, right? Maybe it's cute right now that he's putting on mom's lipstick, or I've seen this happen. It's not cute.
Father's nightmare.
Or like putting on mom's heels, or like every little kid will do something silly because they don't know what they're doing. It's your job as a parent to like parent it out of them and like train them in a way that shows them this is not appropriate for a little boy. This is not appropriate for a little girl to wrestle her brothers or whatever.
You know what's funnier is trying on dad's boots. That's better.
But you know what I mean? Like if you cannot be, if it's not appropriate when they're older, don't start with it when they're little.
Yep. No, that's very good. Because it will. It's just utterly confusing then.
So many times it's cute when little kids are like 3 and 4 and they're wrestling on the floor, brother and sister. That's not cute when they're 16 and it's just weird.
Yeah.
Don't let, take hold when they're little.
That goes for many things. Whatever's cute at 3 is not when they're 15.
Right.
And so you parent it out at 3, because if you wait till they're 15, you're not getting it out.
A sassy attitude, right?
Right. Talking back or saying something sassy, you think, oh, that's so cute. It's so cute because it's so out of character because it's a 3-year-old.
Or it's because it's something that you wish you had in your character, or you want to affirm in your character. Like when, I've heard it said 1,000 times, when moms think their little girls who are sassy and like fierce are like, you know, that way when
That's
they're
so
3,
adorable.
it's so funny. Did you hear what she said? Did you hear how she clapped back? That's hilarious.
Right.
And you're like, oh man, you just wait until that child's 16 years old. It's not going to be funny anymore.
Yeah.
And there's going to be way more 4-letter words.
Yeah.
It's not going to be great. And similarly though, with a boy, when boys are sensitive and they cry a lot, and the mom's just like, he's just so tender. I love it. He's got such a gentle spirit about him, and he is just so loving, and like he just is so sensitive. He can't even handle when, you know, something goes his way or something wrong goes his way, because he is just so sensitive. I love that about him. And you're like, no.
I would ask them, give me an example of the last time he was tough.
Yep.
And it's probably going to be crickets.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the danger, that's exactly what it is.
And we're not saying that little boys should be talking back to mom either. And
no.
we're not saying that little girls should be crying all the time. It's not what we're saying.
Right.
But oftentimes, Christians can say little girls shouldn't be fussers and little boys shouldn't be sassy.
Mm-hmm.
We get that clear as day. Mm-hmm. When you flip it around, somehow that's okay. When little boys cry a lot and little girls are fussy, somehow Christians can think that's totally fine, and a virtue even, right?
Right. And you know, like we've said this several times too when we talk about parenting, and it's just the thing of imitation. And you know, mom and dad should be living in a way that their daughters and sons should want to imitate, or it should be something that you would want them to imitate. And also be the kind of man or kind of woman that, you know, the kind of man you want your daughters to marry and the kind of woman you'd want your son to marry. And so you're imitating for that as well. Mm-hmm. So don't parent in a way that confuses that too. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because like if you have a little boy that you allow to be master cross stitcher, do you want your daughters to marry master cross stitcher boy?
I mean, I don't.
Nah.
It's not going to be for the BB girls.
Vice versa. This gentle, quiet, genteel little boy, is that the kind of man you want your daughters marrying? No, you're going to want someone that's going to actually stand up for your daughters and protect them.
Well, and that's because we're not raising our daughters to be morons, right? They're not going to be the loud woman in the streets like Proverbs talks about.
Right.
But they are going to be
Strong,
strong Christian women who know what a godly man looks like, who are not going to just tolerate sin, who are not going to tolerate a weak man.
Right.
That's what I want for our daughters. At least I want them to be so smart that weak men are afraid of them.
Well, steadfastness in the faith looks one way with a man and another with a woman.
Yes.
And so a woman remaining steadfast, being a strong Christian, right, is going to be everything that you just said.
And if our daughters know that I have to submit to whoever I marry for the rest of my life,
that's right.
I hope they know that they're going to have to submit to this man, so they're going to pick the best one, you know?
Yep.
One that they actually want to submit to.
There you go.
So, anyway, we hope that was helpful. Thriving versus surviving. Yes.
It's very good.
I think we're going to get some hate on this one.
Yeah, we will.
And you know what? We won't care.
I mean, No, we don't care.
Not even a little bit.
But if you comment, I'll comment back and have a good chat with you.
If you're confused, that's different. We are more than happy to clarify, whatever. Yeah. But if you're just ticked off because you think that little boys can be little girls, we don't care.
Nope. Definitely not. So, yeah, I hope this was helpful. I hope this clarified some things with some of those terms and distinctions and definitions, but this is literally frontline of the culture war right now.
It's crucial for the churches to get this down.
Yep, is defining womanhood and manhood, and instilling that in our kids in a biblical way, and just not capitulating with culture at all. We cannot do that.
Right.
We cannot.
Well, and the thing that we don't have enough of in the church right now is moms who want to raise strong little boys. I don't know that I've met any mom who's too tough on her son. I don't think it exists.
Yeah. Yep.
In the reform circles that we're in, most moms are far too gentle on their sons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, usually it's the dad needs to be aware so that he can protect his son from
the mom who wants to cross stitch with her son.
and then it's the other way around too, where I'm confusing myself.
Well, like the mom who wants her daughter to just be so fierce and sassy and like bold, right? Yeah. Girl boss, slay.
Gosh, it's such a disaster out there, guys.
It's not great.
So, anyway.
Christian women, we can do better than this. Christian moms, we can do better than this.
Yep. Raise strong boys.
And
that love, honor, and protect women.
Strong boys and strong girls, because strength comes from actually being who God made you to be.
Mm-hmm.
One's not strong and the other one's not weak. It's both strong because they're acting how God made them to be.
Right.
Both are strong.
There you go. Very good.
We could go on for a very long time on this one.
Yeah, we probably could. All right. Well, again, hopefully it was helpful. And hit the like button and help us out. Subscribe and do all those things. We appreciate it. Share it with a friend who you think might really like this episode. But until next time, take hold and reorder creation by first reforming your home. This has been the Reformed Reset.
But on the basis of grace and on the finished work of Jesus Christ, the project is back and forth, and the destiny of a new transformed world is assured.
I just put the sourdough in the oven too, so I've got like 40 minutes.